some of these were written by the writers that entered the contest. Some of them I wrote myself. Like this one I wrote from scratch. There were like 40 pages of bullets, right?
Yeah.
Out of those 40 pages, there actually were like a good 5 or 10 bullets that were excellent. And all I did was have to tweak them.
Yeah.
And then there were a bunch of others that I just wrote from scratch. Okay. So, now let's decide which are the best ones.
Okay.
The scale I use is excellent, very good, good, fair, poor.
All right. Excellent.
Or which ones just jumped out at you? Maybe we start with that. Or any that just jumped out at you and said, wow, this is killer? Or any of them jumped out at you as this one there?
Yeah, there were a couple. So let me just read through them again. The second one, 335, I thought was excellent.
Okay.
It's incredibly clear, and I love the forehead flapper test.
Okay.
I read this one after that was another one. I loved.
Which one?
The 1123, the 14 words, so specific.
Oh, really? You like that one?
Yeah, I like that. That convinced Parris to drop his real estate career and become a copywriter, even though he was broke and deep in debt. I mean, it's high stakes. It's how could 14 words convince somebody?
You're right. Yeah.
I'm gonna make every outlandish promise you can think of in your sales copy and not go to prison. Man, it's good too. Totally legal, totally ethical, and will make your customers go, man, it's a really good one too.
I like that one a lot. And you know what else is good about it? Is that somebody else wrote it. So I tweaked it, and when they see it, they'll see how I took it from where it was to raised it up a notch or two, and I think it'll be educational for them. So if at all possible, I'd like to keep the ones that, the other people wrote. They could see that.
Okay, great.
Okay, I liked that one too.
All right, so we'll put that one as excellent. Secret to creating better info products than your competitors. Hint, just do the opposite of what most people do. That one doesn't make me feel like if I don't hear this, I'm going to be incomplete.
Right. It's not that exciting. I put that one as a maybe, and the reason I put it as a maybe is because I want something that appeals to the...
Oh, I lost you. I lost your audio. I lost you. Hello?
Somebody came and saved him and did it, and he didn't know who it was. He thought it was his father because it looked like his father. Then later on in the thing, Dumbledore gives them this time-traveling machine, and they go back, and it's, in fact, he who went and saved himself. And the reason he knew he could do it is because he had already done it. So we used this as an example. You brought up Roger Bannister as an example. I think if we say Roger Bannister, then it gives it away, right? People can guess what the answer is. The other example was I told a story about how I had a party in college, and we're sitting there, and nobody had shown up. And we're like, fuck, are we like the most unpopular people in this whole dorm? And then within 15 minutes, the place was packed, and all these hot chicks were there and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So Abby wrote a bullet, something about Harry Potter, hot chicks, and the track star. What Harry Potter, hot chicks, and the track star have to do with whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I thought it was too unwieldy having all those three things. I tried playing around with it, and it just got too much. So I said, well, let me pick one of them. And I picked Harry Potter, and then I put copywriting, what you can learn about copywriting from Harry Potter. No, it doesn't have anything to do with storytelling, because I wanted to add the storytelling thing, because they're going to guess, oh, it's because she's a great storyteller, and you can learn how to tell stories like she does, J.K. Rowling. And so I wanted just to tell them, no, it's not that, and now they're curious. And then I changed it from copywriting to copywriting success, because really you can't really learn about copywriting from that, but you can learn about copywriting success from that. But I think the word success may weaken the bullet. So anyway, that's where we're at. And if you change it to something other than copywriting, then we have to take out the second part about storytelling, because they don't really fit the bullet.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think it's I kind of like Abby's 3 only for the fact that it feels like a setup of a joke.
Yeah. Let me find it.
Well, I don't think we did by name, so we'll search for Harry Potter.
The original one had it by name.
So,
how Harry Potter, hot chicks in college, and a track star can lead to your first sale, which is not really accurate. I don't think.
Right.
Lead to your first sale. What the hell does that mean? What sale? I'm a copywriter. My first client or the first person who's ever going to buy from copy I've written? Well, that's already happened to me. So it was, it was a little, I did play around with it. And I changed the order. I put Harry Potter, track stars, and hot chicks in college. I thought that was a better order. But I don't know. I couldn't really get it to be where I wanted it to be. Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm. So I said, well, what if I do just Harry Potter? And then they'll think it's talking about her J.K. Rowling's story of telling a Bill, and I could say, no, it's not that. So now I've just, But, maybe it doesn't make the final cut. Or maybe we leave it the way it is, or maybe there's a little tweak we could do to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just play with it for another second here.
Why don't we move on for now?
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
Like the 2 just before it, they're maybes. Okay, look at the next one.
Okay. Trick for boosting your confidence and eliminating self-doubt. Parris and Kevin say it's like changing yourself at a cellular level. Yeah. I think that one's solid.
Say that again?
I think that one's solid. I'd say that's very good.
Sue really liked that one. My wife really liked that one.
Good. Yeah, I think it's solid.
This next one is a definite because, almost all the writers wrote a bullet about it, which means it's a hot button for them.
Okay, great. Yeah,
this
so how?
Is basically a combination of different people's bullets that I just tweaked and made into this bullet.
All right, perfect.
Eric landed his first one. The next one I just thought was funny, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That was one of Abby's bullets.
Yeah. I do love that it's just hanging there. It's not in format,
Right. Just like, what? I don't know, but I had that as a maybe.
Yeah, I think I like it. It's cool. Yeah, what it means to drink from the jade fountain as opposed to what drinking from the jade fountain is. I guess that works, but
neither of them are great. What if we changed it to the secret of drinking from the jade fountain? I don't know. Or what about drinking from the jade fountain and just leave that as the first sentence? It's a little too weird.
Well, if we're following the dangling quote there,
which may not stay, but yeah,
it
could be.
What if we put it into action, like why it's critical? It's why every copywriter must eventually, quote, drink from the jade fountain, and how.
All right. Drinking from the jade fountain, what it refers to refresh your memory, is what the ancient Chinese believed that when you stick your penis in a woman's vagina, you're absorbing yin energy through your vagina, out of her body into your body through your penis, and they called it drinking from the jade fountain.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really say that in and of itself is the copywriting secret.
Mm-hmm.
The principle here is that I was able to find something out there that was so crazy that I made up a benefit and went and looked if it was true and found that it was.
Yeah, gotcha.
So the idea that drinking from the jade fountain, we use that phrase because they don't know what the hell it is, and they're
right.
curious. I didn't rank this as one of the excellent bullets because I think there are others that are far better than this.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. We can't change its intention for our convenience to make a better bullet. All right. Now but I think part I like about it is that it pays off so big. How understanding the principle behind it can make you a boatload of money is to me a perfect part of the bullet. So I think what drinking from the jade fountain is, yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine. I really do. I'd put it on the verge of very good.
All right, so I'm going to highlight that second part because maybe one of the other bullets we can, if we decide not to use the jade fountain, maybe understanding it can make you a boatload of money can be used on one of the other bullets that I wrote.
Okay. All right.
All right, next one.
All right, the 3 essential things clients expect from a copywriter and how you can get away with having only 2 of them. I like that. That's pretty good. Yeah, very intriguing.
Somebody else wrote it, and the only thing I changed is he said that, I don't remember if it was a he or she, it said, and when you can get away with having, and I just changed when to how, otherwise, word for word, that person's bullet.
Good. Yeah, I'd say that's a keeper then. Yeah, which deadlines copywriters can safely blow off? Yes, really. Yeah, that's pretty. That's something everybody's going to want to hear, especially from you. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that is very good. Why doing right by the client is not enough. If you really want to get great results, you have to do this additional thing too. Yeah, okay, that's very good.
Is it very good or excellent?
I'd say it's excellent.
Do you really?
The one before it is excellent. It's got to say, by doing right by the client is not enough. If you really want to get great results, you have to do this additional thing too. Yeah, very good. What something you don't like about it?
Yeah, I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was like, oh my God, I've got to know this. Like some of the other ones, right?
Not as much as the deadline one, but it's definitely adding to the influence of me deciding to listen here.
All right. Hey, so we'll see what again. Well, I'll put that one as a maybe. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 definites so far. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. I'm only 30 minutes in, so all right. How to learn and retain reams of information, even if you have a lousy memory.
What to do if your computer crashes and you lose the computer you were working on?
Yeah, again, that's one I want to know the answer to, but I feel like if I have Parris's attention, that's not one of the questions I'm asking him.
All right, let's keep going.
How to learn to retain reams of information, even if you have a lousy memory. Use the secret to become an expert. And now that's enticing. Yeah.
They all wrote bullets about it, so that's something that they were interested in.
Yeah, that definitely resonates with me because I know I struggle with memory. Very good. Okay.
That was one of the questions that was submitted in the Facebook post was they wanted to know that. So, yeah. All right.
Okay, good. How the Pimsleur language method can make you a better copywriter even if you never actually bought a course. That's good. By the way, my son started Japanese today with Pimsleur and had amazing results.
Did he?
Yeah. Okay. Now,
you calling this one a very good or an excellent?
I'm calling it very good, but I think the second half can be better only because to me it's more about even if I have no need to learn a second language, because I'm thinking that that's how it's going to help me somehow, like if I understand the nuance of language or something, is my assumption, even if I never, but it's just reading the sales letter, right? It's the answer?
No, the answer is spaced repetition. So the bullet right above this, it's the same info. It's the same payoff. How to learn and retain reams of information. See, I found out that Pimsleur is about spaced repetition, so I started using that on my copy cups, and they retained the copy repetitions better.
Got it.
And I'm wondering, and my wife said no, she doesn't think that's the case, but I was wondering if if they read the first one, how to retain reams of information, and then they read the second one, will they say, oh, I know Pimsleur, spaced repetition, that's the answer to the previous one. Will it kill the previous one for them? She said no, but I don't know.
I agree. I mean, 1 out of 1,000 maybe, but it's definitely not like we ruined the effect. Because they're still going to have to go check to make sure they're right.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. This one's a very good but not an excellent, or a good but not an excellent.
Yeah, I put it at very good, not an excellent.
All right. Okay.
Why most people read Gene Schwartz over and over and still miss the big secret. You'll be one of the select few who get it when you listen to this. Yeah, I think that's huge.
Okay.
That's excellent.
All right.
How to use a 30-second Google hack to predict in advance whether your campaign will be a knockout or a failure. Yeah, shit, that's excellent too.
That one's really curiosity-provoking. I think it might be the best bullet in here, and it's pretty close to the way the writer wrote it. I just tweaked it a tiny bit. I think I may have combined two different bullets into this one.
Okay.
I think one of them had a 30-second, and the other one called it a Google hack, and I just added 30-second to Google hack. But it's almost word for word what the person wrote.
Okay, bonus then. All right, great. When putting benefits in your headline can lower your response, and the 9-word headline that proves it. Damn, that's good too. It's like, how do I not want to know that headline?
That one I think is word for word what the writer wrote.
Wow. Yeah, it's a really good one.
Yeah.
I love that it ends on proves it.
It may have been, if I changed anything, he or she may have had why putting benefits in your headline can lower your response, and I changed it to when. More believable.
Right. I love that subtle changes that make such a difference.
Okay.
How to succeed in any market where ads don't pull like they used to. Hint, making a bigger promise will backfire on you. I think it's a good bullet. I think what it promises is not as enticing as some other things here.
Okay. I really liked that one, but because that's like the world I live in.
Yeah.
I'm always in highly competitive niches, and I've been around long enough to see response rates drop. Maybe these folks haven't. But this one was one of my favorites. But let's call it a maybe, and we'll see where we're at when we're done.
Okay. Yeah, I'd really like the hint, really intriguing. Okay. Why testimonials are the most overrated, ineffective type of proof you can use in an ad. What you should do instead if you want your prospects to believe everything you say. Wow. Yeah, again, so, I mean, we're, dispelling a given, a norm,
right.
A standard. I really like that.
Okay.
What was the answer here again?
Well, everybody, that's all they do is use testimonials. And by now it's like they wash over you like water off a duck's back because everybody uses them, and that's all they use. And I said, read Vic Schwab. There's like 20 different kinds of proof in there, and hardly anyone uses the other kinds. They're all so focused on, social proof. Right. And by the way, there are some products where you should absolutely not use social proof. So if you're positioning your product as secret information and scarcity and all that kind of stuff, and you have 100 testimonials, now all of a sudden it's like, well, I guess it's not so secret. All these other people know it too.
Right. Yeah. That's good. All right. Cool. 1 hour. The creativity secret that Parris stole from Steve Jobs. How to use it to generate headlines, sales hooks, and even multi-million-dollar product ideas. Yeah, I'd say it's a great bullet. I wouldn't change a word of it. And yeah, I like that it really does cover the full spectrum of listeners as far as the benefit.
So this one, the first sentence, word for word, what the writer wrote, and I added the second sentence.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I'd say that's a definite contender.
Okay, next.
Our joke in the National Enquirer resulted in one of the strongest headlines Parris has ever written, and how you can use the same technique to get ideas from anywhere. Yeah, Dan was good too.
All right, so here's a question for you. In the recording, I say I don't remember if it was National Enquirer or People Magazine. It was something like that, right? Now, National Enquirer, our audience has been told by many people, going back to Gary Halbert and all these other folks, that they should read the National Enquirer, right?
Yeah.
So would it be better to call it People Magazine? How a joke in People Magazine resulted, or is National Enquirer better?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say for that reason, People is better. The other option is to be less specific and say, check out Rack Magazine or check out Aisle Magazine or something.
Yeah, we could do that too.
I like the specificity of saying one or the other, though, and I think People
Magazine resulted in one of the strongest headlines Parris has ever written, and how you can use the same technique to get ideas from anywhere. Is that good, very good, or excellent?
That is excellent.
Okay. Looks like we're going to have more than 20. Okay, the next one.
How to get your subconscious mind to come up with ideas on demand. Believe it or not, it involves writing a sales letter to your subconscious. Yeah, I'd say it's very good. How to get your subconscious mind to come up with ideas. I mean, that promise.
That's what said Nicholas is, bestow any benefit upon them. What would I bestow? That's what they want. That's what we all want.
Yeah, it's an irresistible promise, yeah.
The second sentence. That's intrigue, or do you think it kills it?
I think it kills it a little because I feel like if I've read any of those subconscious provoking books, then maybe I know this already. What's the one that Ben Savega recommends all the time? Goddard or whatever, Neil Goddard.
The what?
What's the book, Instructing Your Subconscious or whatever? The Secret. The Secret is the
Feeling is the Secret?
Yeah, Feeling is the Secret, yeah.
I ordered it. I haven't read it yet. But this is the 11th element. Like we were talking about James Webb Young and the whole technique that your subconscious will figure out the answer while you're doing something else. But then I said your subconscious on steroids. And I said you write these letters, these 11th element requests, where you say, Dear subconscious, blah, 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 and you find the problem and all your conscious thinking of it, and then you ask for help at the end. And so I call it a sales letter, quote unquote, because I thought that might be intriguing, or does it just sound like work?
Sounds like work. It definitely sounds like work.
So what do we do about that second sentence?
Believe it or not, it involves writing. What if it's like, what are we really doing? But like almost putting in like a support ticket or like some kind of request,
Right. And the other thing we're doing is we're taking those 11th element requests and we're putting them in this sacred place. Like you have a box where you keep them all. Somebody wrote a bullet that said something about sacred ritual. Find that. Sacred. The sacred ritual Parris follows when he faces writer's block. That's actually not bad, because writer's block is another.
Yeah.
The sacred ritual Parris follows when he faces writer's block that lets him write winners in his sleep. It's actually a pretty good bullet.
It's a pretty good bullet, yeah.
So maybe we'll copy and paste it and see what happens here. Sacred ritual Parris follows when he faces writer's block. What's the bigger promise? The coming up with ideas on demand or the getting rid of writer's block?
Well, I would say that ideas on demand takes care of writer's block without calling it out directly.
Okay, or what if we just do that too? Works for writer's block too.
Yeah, right. It instantly eliminates writer's block. Something like that, yeah. Ends writer's block for good, something like that.
So you like the idea of combining the two?
Yeah, I do.
So I just did works for writer's block too. you're saying you want to go over the top with it, like instantly ends, not writer's block, or what was the other phrase you said?
I think the last one I said was ends writer's block for good. Because, I mean, essentially it does. If you can come up with ideas on demand, that should pretty much cure your writer's block.
Well, I'll tell you what. For me, writer's block isn't about coming up with the idea so much. I know that's a major reason of writer's block. The reason they don't know what to write is because they never came up with what they're writing. But for me, the biggest problem is once I'm in the thick of the piece, I get to all these different forks in the road, and I don't know which way to go, and I don't know what to say first, and all that shit. So, oh man.
Yeah, true. Good point. It doesn't. So it would be a blanket claim without merit. So yeah,
works
do your version.
Works.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're kind of implying that if this is the reason for your writer's block, it works for cure to end it. Yeah.
All right. So.
Yeah.
5 minutes more.
It's tough because we have two really good bullets that don't work together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go for now with
believe it or not, it involves, or forget the believe it or not. Hint, it involves sending a special type of message to your subconscious.
Yeah. No, I would go with what you came up with after our last thing. Just yeah. For now, I think we'll come back to this one with fresh eyes, and it'll be obvious if we should do something different with it.
So, let's move on. Next one.
All right, this is a freaking suicide mission. How Parris found himself going up against an A-list copywriter early in his career, and the step-by-step process he used to beat that writer's control. Yeah, I like it. I'm just feeling like we could do more with used to beat that writer's control, like, you know, way more easily than you could expect, or I mean, it's too many words, but getting that across, right?
Easy.
Right, not to be easy, but this is a freaking suicide mission. All right, although you overcame the odds, how Parris found himself going up against an A-list copywriter early in his career, and the step-by-step process he used to beat that writer's control. Maybe it's how much did you beat it by?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It wasn't like one of those where I killed him. You know, I beat him by 20-some-odd%, probably. You know.
Okay. But
it's already a very wordy bullet, so I'd be.
Yeah, that's the thing. Add anything to it, right?
Let's move on.
I'll put that as a good.
Okay.
How to tell if your headline hook is good enough, or if you need to keep working to find a better one. This advice alone can blah blah blah.
Catapult you to the top of the.
Right. All right. So that's the first one we worked on. That's good. And we worked on the next one. Those are the first two we worked on, right? So we're good there on those two?
Well, this one, is this very good, or excellent?
And so it ended up being this advice alone can catapult you to the top of the copywriting
profession, yeah.
Profession. I would call that, I would call that a good. Verging on very good.
Okay. The A-pile, when using a Gary Halbert A-pile envelope can backfire on you, and the sleight of hand technique can be used to overcome this problem so you still get your piece opened and read.
So that's very good.
Right. When you should put teaser copy on a Gary Halbert A-pile envelope. Doing this almost forces people to open it.
I'd say that is a little better than the previous one, if we were choosing between an A-pile.
All right. But is it excellent or just very good or good?
I think envelope copy is
not a big thing these days. A lot of people writing.
You're right. They're not going to feel like they're going to help their business, but they want to know it. You know.
Okay. Next one.
All right. The technique that puts your readers through an emotional roller coaster and leaves them in a buying frenzy. Case study of a 7-year control. The technique to put your readers through an emotional roller coaster and leaves them in a buying frenzy. Yeah, it just feels a little hypey, like they've heard the promise before.
Okay.
Well, you should never ever put in the PS of a sales letter. Yet it's what most writers do. Do this instead and watch your conversions go through the roof. Yeah, I think that's kind of an original, right? I thought that was really good.
Okay.
The type of business you should never go into unless you want to lose money, and why the greatest copywriters have all served time there. Yeah, interesting. The type of business you should never go into unless you want to lose money, and why the greatest copywriters have all served time there. I think it's excellent. It's great curiosity. There's no real immediate benefit, but it also serve time there I love, but it throws me off a little.
Right. That was the problem I had with it, too. This is one of the ones that one of the writers wrote, and I was trying to figure out how to fix that. And I just kept going back and forth and couldn't really decide.
Yeah. I like the misdirection of it. Type of business you should never go into unless you want to lose money. Yeah. I think it's a way we could rephrase the first part. The type of business guaranteed to lose you money. The one type of business guaranteed to lose you money. I guess there'd be more than one.
Guaranteed to lose you money. This is the book business. How, Boardroom, Rodale.
Yeah.
And
why all the greatest copywriters have served time there.
Because the best thing in the world to sell is a book, and if you could sell a book, you could sell anything.
Yeah, what do you think about just simplifying the first part of it?
To what?
Guaranteed to lose you money. The one type of business.
Not guaranteed to lose you money. I think the original version that the writer wrote is which business you should never go into and why the greatest copywriters have all served time there. Mm. And the big disconnect for me, it's intriguing, but it's also kind of like not believable. Like, why did they serve time there if it's the worst business? So I tried to kind of fix it, and it was really hard to figure out how to fix it.
Right.
Let's see what we got here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 definites.